Today I'm going to show you how to make a comforting tofu and dashi broth appetizer, so stick around. Welcome back to No Recipes. I'm Mark Matsumoto and I'm here to show you how to elevate your everyday meals. So give that subscribe button and notification bell some love so you don't miss out. Agedashi tofu literally means tofu that's been fried and soaked in dashi. And it's a super simple appetizer or side that can be made at home. By coating the tofu in potato starch before you fry it, it gives the dashi something to soak into, which imparts loads of flavor to the tofu. Agedashi tofu is traditionally made with a fish-based dashi stock, but it's super easy to make it plant-based. So today I'm going to show you how to make it both ways. Let's start by checking out the ingredients. For the tofu, we're going to be using soft tofu, which is sometimes labeled silken tofu. We're also going to be using some salt and potato starch. For the broth, we're going to be using dashi, soy sauce, sugar, and salt. Agedashi tofu can be topped with a variety of ingredients including daikon, ginger, scallions, and Katsuobushi. Before I jump, let's start off by cutting the tofu into 4 even cubes. Soft tofu is extremely delicate, so be careful as you're handling it. Then I'm gonna sprinkle every side of the tofu with salt. This not only helps season the tofu, it also draws out excess water through osmosis. The best tofu for Agedashi tofu will have a custardy, melt-in-your-mouth texture, which means it has a much higher water content than other types of tofu. This makes it especially important to drain it well to help prevent the oil from spattering all over the place when we fry it. Now we just need to let this tofu drain on a wire rack while we prepare the other ingredients. Since tofu is a plant-based protein, the trick to making this vegan-friendly is to use a plant-based dashi. I usually make mine from a combination of dried shiitake mushrooms and kombu. The dashi on the left is a traditional one made with katsuobushi and kombu, while the plant-based one on the right is made with shiitake mushrooms and kombu. I'll include links in the description below to both dashi recipes so you can make them yourself. Now let's prepare the toppings. I've cut a wheel of daikon from the top near where the stem comes out, and I'm gonna peel it using a knife. The layer under the skin can be stringy, so you wanna peel a relatively thick layer off with the skin. For eating raw, I like using the stem end because it's generally sweeter and less spicy than the root end. Now we just need to grate this. In Japan, we have a special rasp like this that's made for grating daikon. But if you don't have one, you can use a box grater to achieve similar results. When selecting daikon, you want to look for one that's white towards the bottom and a light shade of green at the top. It should also be plump with satiny smooth skin. Fresh daikon is loaded with water, so we need to strain most of it off so it doesn't dilute the broth. I usually just pour the grated daikon into a tea strainer and give it a few firm presses with my fingers to drain off some of that excess water. For our other topping, I'm gonna use some scallions today. These ones came out of my garden and they're not fully matured, which is why they're a bit small. But if you use thicker scallions, be sure to chop them as thinly as possible. Now let's season the dashi, which I'm adding to a pot, along with the soy sauce, sugar, and salt. Let's get this on the stove and bring it to a boil. This not only helps the sugar and salt to dissolve, it also burns off the naturally occurring alcohol in soy sauce, which can give the dashi a harsh taste. Okay, I'm gonna turn down the heat and keep this warm until the tofu's ready. To coat the tofu, I'm using potato starch. It may look a lot like cornstarch, but it has a completely different texture when fried, thanks to the larger size of the starch granules and a higher ratio of amylopectin to amylose. This gives fried foods a crispier texture And when it's soaked in dashi, it turns slick and noodly instead of gummy like cornstarch would. I've gone ahead and dried off the drained tofu with paper towels, and I'm gonna roll each cube around in the potato starch to give it a light, even coating. The tofu is extremely fragile, so you need to be very gentle as you do this, or it's gonna break. Once you have an even coating of starch with no bald spots, you want to lower it straight into some oil that's been preheated to 360 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. Sorry about the focus issues here. Apparently, cameras don't like being mounted over a pot of hot oil. Who knew? Since tofu is cooked already, the goal here is to warm them through. Just let these fry, flipping them over a few times until the starch on the outside is nice and crisp. Then you want to let the tofu drain on a paper towel lined rack. To plate the Agedashi Tofu, I'm just gonna put them in a bowl and ladle the dashi around the fried tofu. Since this one is made using regular dashi, I'm gonna top this with some Katsuobushi, which are flakes of dried, smoked, and fermented skipjack tuna. If you want to make this plant-based, just skip this, or you can microplane on some dried shiitake mushrooms as a substitute. Now I'm gonna add a mound of daikon onto each cube of tofu, and then I'm gonna finish it off with a sprinkle of scallions. Agedashi tofu is such a simple preparation of a humble ingredient, and yet it's a carnival of textures and flavors for your mouth. The coating stays crisp on top while the bottom soaks up the flavor of the dashi like a sponge. The warm tofu on the inside has a satiny texture that just melts in your mouth into a rich pool of creamy flavor. In contrast, the daikon and scallions brings a burst of freshness in each bite that keeps this dish light enough that you'll want to go back for seconds. For my plant-based Agedashi Tofu, I've topped it with daikon, ginger, and scallions today, and it's just as flavorful as the original. Agedashi Tofu is also great with a dash of shimi togarashi, which your diners can sprinkle on to taste. Whether you go with a fish-based dashi or make it mushroom-based, this dish is a soul-warming comfort food that you don't have to feel so guilty about eating. A steaming hot bowl of Agedashi Tofu is the perfect way to start an autumn meal, so I hope you'll give it a try. If you enjoyed watching this video, you can show your support by giving this a big thumbs up and by sending a link to your friends who love tofu. Also, if you've enjoyed some of the content and recipes on this channel and want to see more like it, I hope you'll consider becoming a patron on Patreon, which not only helps support these videos, it also gives you access to some exclusive perks. Well, I'm gonna go warm up with a big bowl of Agedashi Tofu, but I'll catch you in the next one. Check us out on Instagram at @NoRecipes.